Hi, I'm Wendy, and in 1992 I moved to Los Angeles to make my mark in this town. It's 20 years later, and like thousands of other hopefuls, nothing has stuck, no doors have opened, and no one knows who I am. The only thing I got going for me is that I've been close more times than I'd like to count. I've been a finalist in some prestigious screenplay competitions, I've been an award-winning short filmmaker in some second-tier film festivals, and I've won several unknown comedy competitions. Problem is, almost and close only count in bowling and biopsies. But the great thing is, I know I'm not alone. So I've traveled around the country to interview many of my friends who've also struggled to get the brass ring and have them tell their stories of being almost.
Hi, I'm Jordan Summers. I was in a band called The Imposters, and I almost was in the biggest band in the world.
I'm Christine Blackburn, and I almost got kicked out of town.
I'm Greg Arcee, and I almost became a professional magician, professional writer, professional actor, a professional mentalist, and a professional human being.
Hi, I'm Jackie Kashian, and I almost made it into the last comic standing house twice.
And now I'm going to talk to Jackie Kashian. Hey, Jackie.
Hello, Wendy Wilkins. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Oh, of course. Lemonade.
I'm not above drinking it.
A couple years ago,
Right.
you were on the TV show Last Comic Standing.
Several times.
Yes.
Yes, I was.
So, the first year, when was the first year you were on it? What, do you remember
I think
what
it
year,
was,
what cycle it
I
was?
feel like it was 2006. It was the year that the semifinals were held in Glendale instead of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think it was with Gabriel Iglesias and Bill Dwyer and
Oh, yes.
maybe.
Were you guys on the Queen Mary? Or was
I think
it
they
was
ended up
gonna
on
be...
that, and then Josh Blue won
Right.
that season.
Yes.
That was the first season.
Now, I remember that year, the women that did make it on the ship were a hot Latina,
Who was
like
it?
a hot, thick Latina, which I don't remember her name. I personally, as being a stand-up comic, never seen her on the circuit.
Like our weight level, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't remember anybody else. And here, that's the problem, I think, with The Last Comic Standing. Not only does it not serve female comics, but it also just
comics.
or comics in general, yes. But it also doesn't, as far as women goes, it doesn't ever want a woman unless they are either sexualized or like charactery, creepy, weird.
Yeah, you got. They're definitely looking for crazy
Yes.
with the guys and the women. And with women, it's a very specific kind of crazy that they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's got to be either I'm an old lady who's crazy, or I'm a young, hot, sexual lady who's crazy. People have told me, production people at that show told me that I was far too sane
Yeah.
to ever make the house, and I was like, really, we don't want to go with some sort of maternal
Right.
kind of person that I could be supportive. No,
Right.
all right, I'll be fine. You know, someone with a camera in your face for at least 7 hours a day, going, what if you don't win? What would happen in your life if you don't get on this boat or this
Yeah.
house or whatever? And for the first, I don't know, 3 hours, you're fine. You're like,
Right.
okay, well, it turns out I still get to do stand-up comedy because nobody bosses that.
Right.
Everybody gets to do stand-up comedy. You can do stand-up comedy, turns out. There's an open
Right.
mic. And so everybody gets to do stand-up comedy. But the bajillionth time they ask you that, you start going, oh, I wonder what will happen.
Right.
And I'll tell
I
you.
think they're banking on that. They're banking on you starting to get that self-doubt.
Yeah, and so after that, for the first time in my career, and I've been doing before that, I've been doing stand-up for at least 15 years, and for the first time after that first season of Last Comic Standing, I had anxiety attacks on stage. Where, in weird situations, because sometimes I do shows, and they're like, you know, it's a private, it's a corporate, it's an unfamiliar situation, right? It's not just a regular club in the basement
Right.
of something where it's dank,
Right.
where I'm very, very comfortable.
Right.
But if it's some corporate in some Kiwanis Club hall
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
it can be nerve-wracking because you're like, oh, there's old people here,
Yeah.
and I hope they like me. And so before I would just get vaguely nervous. I froze up twice at corporates where they were like, and after the show they were like, here's your check. And I hated that.
Yes.
And have since put in a rider when I do privates that I get paid before.
Yeah.
Because guess what happens?
You don't want that judgment afterwards.
I don't want that judgment. You can judge me, but
Yeah.
please judge me with the money in my pocket. Because
Yes.
I have driven here. I know that one year I auditioned here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
One year I auditioned in Minneapolis. And they were like, will you go and audition again in Houston? Because that wasn't the greatest set. And I was like, maybe. What? And then they told me when the finals were, and I had a family obligation that weekend. I was like, you guys told me a different date
Yeah.
for when the weekend finals thing was going to be.
Yeah.
And then the third time I auditioned, I think I was back here. Yeah, I was back here.
Uh-huh.
So both times I made it to the Vegas round, to the semifinal,
Right.
whatever the hell that is,
Right.
was in LA. And then the other time I did it in my home club in Minneapolis. It's the finals to get picked to get into the house. And then
Right.
you get another 8 episodes or 12 episodes.
Right.
And that's where the real
That's where you can
recognition
then,
comes in and
you-
the money gets in.
Right, and then you can book all around the country as a headliner and all
At
that
least
other
once.
stuff. Yeah.
At least once
Yeah.
until you suck. And then...
Which I am sure did happen quite a bit.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is if you do a year of headline work,
Yeah.
Dat Fan, he
Yeah.
didn't have an hour
No.
going in.
No, not
Coming
at all.
out, he
Yeah.
had an hour. And
Yeah.
it wasn't an hour, it isn't my kind of hour, shall we say? But it is an hour,
Yeah.
and people enjoy it, so he's doing his thing. And the third year I did it again, and I made it to the finals,
Uh-huh.
to the Vegas round. Well, here's my greatest regret about the whole thing, is that I had a good set, and it was Gary Marshall,
Yeah.
and I think Kathy Griffin
Yes.
and Tim Meadows, I think were
Yes.
the 3
Yep.
celebrity judges. Celebrity real, judges not so real.
No.
And but Gary Marshall actually said to me after my set, "You're in front of God and everybody. You're very talented."
That's insane.
That is insane. They did not air that. The next year came around, and and I remember my friend Lewis, club owner, said, "Are you going to try out again?" And I was like, "I can't imagine."
Yeah.
And my husband Andy was like, he's a game designer, and he said, "Okay, you've played this game.
Yeah.
You've never won this game.
Right.
You don't like playing this game. Please don't play this game anymore."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, it might be a thing for my
Right,
career."
right.
And that's what my friend Lewis was like, "You got to do it. It's for your career."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, but it's not fun. I do a lot of things that aren't particularly fun in my career, but can I not do this one?" He's like, "It's a pride. Because you're a
Right.
comic. You don't have room for pride." And I was like, "True." I'll tell you something about
Yeah.
contests. Why do they keep doing them? For stand-up comedy, there's no way it's judging apples and pineapples.
Yeah.
I will say this, more people have seen Last Comic Standing than they have seen my half-hour special on Comedy Central. More people saw me do 4.5 minutes
Right.
on Last Comic Standing than have seen me do a half hour on Comedy Central.
So then by 10 years, you have a good full hour. Isn't that right?
Is that
am I
the
right?
saying?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
love a
don't-
saying. I love a saying. There's another one. There was one from the 80s when they used to say, you should get a laugh every 12 seconds.
Oh,
or
God.
something like that. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that. Especially this one with the chatting. With the chat.
I know, right.
Which is, I think, one of the reasons why NBC didn't pick me. Is because
Right.
I'm a little long-winded.
How did you get into comedy? What do you know?
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah.
84, going to college. Got super drunk, heckled Sam Kinison. Management came over and told me to shut it, and sarcastically said, "Open mic is on Monday, Sunday." And so 3 weeks later, I had 3 premises,
Yeah.
and I showed up, and I was all eager. And then I decided to get drunk instead.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I came back, did not get drunk, and went up.
Uh-huh.
And I believe it reminds me of how people describe heroin the
Yeah.
first time they do it.
Yeah.
Very addictive. I had a great joke about how Batman and Robin might be gay
Oh.
back in the day because of that poem. It was just good writing in
Yes.
85. Just really good
Do you
writing.
remember your first joke?
That was it.
That was it?
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is about I think most stand-ups is that you only think about stand-up all the time, and then people in the industry say, "Well, what do you want to do?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was doing it." No? Okay, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
Do I want to write? And a lot of people want this to write, but I don't want to write, mostly because I don't want to sit in a writer's room for 14 hours with people that are very nice,
Yeah.
doing fisting jokes,
Yeah.
until someone says something funny.
Yeah.
Because I only have like one fisting joke. I thought about it, because I mean, there's no way to not think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? If I could have been slightly crazier, if I would have been drunk all the time, maybe
Right.
that would have been something.
Right.
I spend a good portion of my time not regretting things.
That's very healthy.
Right, and sometimes it's harder than other times, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
right, where you just spend a good portion of your time going, you know what, I get to do stand-up comedy.
Right.
I have a pretty amazing life here,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, that's all I learned, really, is I learned those two things. I learned that you don't always get what you want.
Right.
And that's fine. That was not the first time I learned that. That is a recurring theme
Right.
in the human experience, I think. And the second thing I learned was that I should figure out what I do want to do, and I should do it myself. You know, and more lately, that's because I get turned down every day. I mean, this last comic standing thing, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's 18 rejections ago. You know, since then, 17 people have not wanted in on this. So, fair enough. And but with all the new media and stuff, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And if anybody cares, they care. Like, I have my podcast, and I've been doing the podcast for almost 6 years now, and it's called The Dork Forest, and I interview people about what they really love.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know a lot about it, you just have to be enthusiastic.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for
You're
talking
welcome.
to me.
Thanks for coming.
I
Thanks for
mean,
the lemonade.
Yes, lemonade. Today's sponsor is Starbucks Lemonade.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for having me.
Boom.
Boom.
And when I started to caress your breasts were styrofoam, but I guess that's okay. Hey, c'est la vie.